Hey guys, Patrick here. So I'm in the kitchen today. I wanted to go over a keto-friendly riced cauliflower-based pizza crust. So my wife has MS, and so we're trying to make sure we're eating very healthy. And then as her caregiver and husband, I want to make sure that I'm eating healthy as well. So I'm there for her. So what we're trying to do is eat healthy foods, stay away from processed foods as much as we can, but we also want to try to enjoy some of the things that we have enjoyed in the past. And one of those things is pizza. So there are several recipes and variations of recipes based on riced cauliflower. And so what I've done is I believe I've come up with something that's maybe a little bit streamlined. You know, one of the things about just being busy is you just don't have time to cheese grate a head of cauliflower. So what I've done is I'm going to start with a 12-ounce package of riced cauliflower from Aldi. And this has actually been enhanced with garlic and herb. Yummy. So we're going to start with this. I also have one egg that I'm going to use. I'm going to use some Parmesan cheese also from Aldi, the eggs from Aldi, as well as some avocado oil from Aldi. So let's get started. I'll show you this great recipe, and hopefully you can benefit from it as well. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, in the past I've had some issues with the cauliflower being soggy. So I did some more research and I found some people who are actually trying to dry out the cauliflower in various ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pour the cauliflower into this big skillet, and you'll see those nice the garlic and herbs already mixed in. So that's one of the awesome things about using the Aldi riced cauliflower. That's the garlic and herb brand, or garlic and herb flavor. So it's already in there, and what I'm going to do is as this thing heats up, I'm just going to keep stirring it, and the idea is to just stir most of the moisture out of it, and then once I get most of the moisture out, then I'm going to be adding some other ingredients that basically makes up the pizza crust and binds all the parts together. All right, so now the pan is good and hot. The cauliflower is steaming, which is good. It's steaming out all of that moisture. I like to use a big pan, or a big skillet, I should say. So I've used different sizes of skillets, and I just really think that the bigger skillet works better. You can work it around, and it's actually bigger than the burner on the stove, so you can work some of it to the side. The idea is you want to work the moisture out of it, but you don't want to burn it. You don't want to let it set. You're going to have to stand here, and you're going to have to keep stirring it around, and that's how you take the moisture out without actually burning it. You're just drying it up, but you don't want to burn it. You don't even want to brown it. You just want to get that steam out. So you see a lot of steam's coming off this now. It's been 4 minutes so far. Okay, so about 8 minutes in on high, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off. So it's going to be on completely off, but it's still going to be on the burner. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working it for 2 more minutes. So then we'll get to the 10-minute mark. Of course, the heat's starting to dissipate a little bit in the pan. Still very hot, but it gets to the point where you can actually spread the cauliflower out. You still want that cauliflower to continue to dry up a little bit. You want to work that moisture out. You're not seeing the steam coming off as much, but there is some steam coming off around the edges. It's much drier than it was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this set for 5 minutes. So I'll have a total of 15 minutes in pan time with the riced cauliflower. Okay, next I've taken the riced cauliflower and I poured it into this clear Pyrex bowl, and I've been kind of stirring it around for 3 or 4 minutes, just kind of letting it kind of continue to cool down. There was some steam coming off it initially. I'm at about 21 minutes, including the preparation of 1 egg, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 2/3 of a cup, and what I use is grated Parmesan. All the egg, less than $1 for a dozen of them. I'm going to pour that in, and I'm going to take 1 of the 1/3 cups of the cheese, and I'm going to start stirring that in. I'm going to actually add a total of 2/3 of a cup. All right, so I'm working that in. It's going to take a little while to work this in because you don't want to pour it all in at once. You want to keep working it and pouring more in here. It's going to be yummy. It smells very good. You're smelling the garlic and herb from the cooked cauliflower, and you're mixing in a little bit of starting to smell a little bit of that. Okay, so the last ingredient, and this is also from Aldi, pure avocado oil. I'm going to use 1.5 teaspoons of avocado oil, right? And be very, very careful here. And this is a 1.5 teaspoon measure. And I'm going to pour that in. Avocado oil, very good for you. It's a lot better oil than some of the traditional oils that you use, like soybean oil or whatever. So avocado oil for better health. All right, so let's work in that avocado oil. Set this aside. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to set the oven to 375, and I'm going to get out pizza pan. Okay, so we've got the pizza pan here. The oven is preheating, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my parchment paper out. So, started to form it up. What I do is I put a little avocado oil in a measuring spoon, and then I dip it basically in so that I can keep it from sticking. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of this around just to kind of speed this up a little bit. The idea, of course, is that you're going to want to make a pizza crust, a round pizza crust, or I guess you could make a square pizza crust, but so basically what I'm doing now, as I was saying, is I'm forming up about a 10-inch pizza crust, right? So it's not going to be huge, but remember, you're talking about less than $3 worth of ingredients. If you wanted to double the size, just use double the ingredients. And what I'm doing is I'm just getting a little avocado oil on the back of this spoon. I'm spreading this out. You want it, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to be between 1/4 inch and 1/8 of an inch, I would say. You don't want it to be too thin on the edges because these edges will burn a little bit. You want it to brown, and so that's looking pretty good, right? Generally round. I didn't have to take all the time on camera to put that thing together, so that's good, or to smash that out. All right, so once you have and I would say that that's probably generally 10 inches in there. Let's go go ahead and get that off the back. Let's not waste that. All right, so ready to go. What do you think? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I have my preheated oven at 375. I'm going to set this timer for 15 minutes. And I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this to make sure that it's not burning. All right. Put that in there on the middle shelf, and let's go up in time. Okay, my timer has gone off for my first 15 minutes, and what I want to do is I want to get this thing out and I want to take a quick look at it, right? So let's look really close. So it's starting to brown around the edges. That's good. It's boiling everywhere. It's generally browning up really well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the top shelf, and I'm actually going to put it in for about 3 to 4 more minutes. So let's try 4. All right, so it's been an additional 4 minutes. Crust is out of the oven. So let's take a look at it. So basically it's been cooking for a total of 19 minutes. You're going to want to keep an eye on the crust in your own oven because you know, things vary. You know, nothing is exactly the same, even though theoretically the temperature is exactly the same. There's other variables, but you'll notice that it's nice and brown. It's not really, there's no burning on the edges. There's pretty dark brown, just a little bit here on this end or on this area, but it looks good. It smells good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn off the oven now. Let's get real close here, and you can see that what's happened is all that cheese has melded together with the riced cauliflower. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cool because I'm going to actually put this in the fridge, and I'm gonna actually make up several of these. Okay, so this thing is now cool enough to touch, and I wanted to, before I end the video, I wanted to really show you guys just how firm this thing is. I mean, the idea is you want to be able to pick up a piece of pizza, right? So look at that. So that's what the bottom side looks like. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? That's amazing. Wanted to show you guys a little bit of progress regarding a double recipe. So this is a larger crust. This is me just doubling the recipe that I talked about in detail in the earlier in this video. So this is 2 bags of the riced cauliflower. This is 2 eggs. This is doubling the recipe, but it makes, as you can see, a lot larger crust. So I wanted to have at least one of these larger crusts, so I went ahead and doubled the recipe and wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of what that double recipe looks like on that same pizza pan. So that's a pretty good sized pizza crust. Finished double recipe, ready to go into the oven. Okay, I just took the larger crust out of the oven. Very similar in color. A little darker brown around the edges. Looking really good. Looking beautiful. It's going to be really yummy. This is every bit 12 inches, whereas the other one was probably 9 3/4 to maybe 10 inches. And this also did take 26 minutes to cook this, and you want to keep an eye on it again. I did move it to the top shelf after 20 minutes, left it in for 6 more, kept a good close eye on it, but it looks really good. So now it's time to fast forward in time again and give you a look at a finished pizza. And here are a couple of pieces ready to serve.